Hi, Book 2. So, today I am going to do a tag. I was tagged by Bad is Rad 2 to do the book ratings tag, or the ratings tag. It's not the DNF tag because this is more about how you rate the books you read. And before I begin, this tag is specifically designed for people who rate from 1 to 5 stars. Okay, that's the Goodreads method of rating books. I personally rate books from a scale of 1 to 10. But for the purposes of this tag, I will do my best to convert my standard of rating to the 5 stars. So, for example, 1 star is the equivalent of a 1 to 2 for me. 2 stars is the equivalent of 3 to 4. 3 stars is the equivalent of 5 to 6. 4 stars is the equivalent of 7 to 8. And 5 stars is the equivalent... Wait. 7 to 8 to 9. 7, 8, 9 is for 4 stars. And 5 stars is the equivalent of a perfect 10. So, with that out of the way, I'm going to use the 5-star rating, and then I quickly convert it from 1 to 10. Let's get to the prompts. I have them written down here. So, question number 1, how often do you DNF and what makes you DNF? Well, very, very rarely actually. In my life, I've DNF'd less than 10 books. When I do DNF, I'm usually only like 5 to 10% of the way through the book. I can realize very quickly if I'm not going to like a book. A teacher taught me, like, if you read like the first 8 pages of a book, and if you don't like what you're reading, you will not like the rest of the book. So I can identify a bad book very quickly. I've DNF'd a book called Against All Enemies by Clancy. That book I DNF'd because the author had a very, very unfriendly language. The narrator spoke to the reader in a very unfriendly way. It was a third-person perspective. I couldn't take the narrator's voice. So I do DNF, but only very rarely, because I'm very good at quickly seeing if I will not like a book or not. So, question number 2, do you rate books 1 star? No. I don't rate books 1 star because, as I said, I can identify a bad book pretty quickly, and so I never give a book a 1. 1 or 2, or a 1 or 2 in my rating system. So no, I never do that. I may not like a book, but there's always something that'll keep me hooked, that'll get me through to the end. And I'll more on that in a bit. So no, I don't rate books 1 star, 1 or 2 stars. I may, and more on this in a bit as well, I may not give a book a rating, but I'll never give a 1-star rating. I may do a review without a rating. And I'll explain why a little bit later down the line. Question number 3. What is a 2-star book to you? So a 2-star is the equivalent of 3 to 4 to me. It's a bad book that I would not recommend. But there was something in that book similar to 2-star. Yes, yes. There was something in that book that that gave it worthiness for me to keep reading it all the way to the end. 3 to 4 stars. So there is at least something that's mildly interesting about it, so that I stay hooked on the reading it to the end. But it is otherwise a bad book that I would not recommend. Yeah. Quickly, if I repeat myself again, I'm sorry. It's a really, really, really bad habit of mine. Number 4. Is a 3-star book a good book for you? So a 3-star would be, let's see, a 5 to 7. Yeah, a 5 to 7. Well, it would be a mixed book. Like a 5, 6, or 7. I would say 3 stars. I would say these would be the books that I often don't give a rating to. And here's why. It would mean like I have mixed ideas. Like there's some really, really bad stuff in there, and there's some really, really good stuff in there, and it's all chaotic. And I'm thinking like, wow, this is an interesting book because like I don't know what to think. It's all over the map. So I won't give it a rating. So usually I don't often give a 5 to 6 star, a 5 to 6, which is a 3 in the 5-star equivalent, in the 5-star method. So I don't often give a 5 or 6. So I give 7 more, like saying, yeah, it's okay, right? It's just in the middle. But a 5 or 6 means like it's chaotic, like, oh, there's something really awesome. Oh, there's something really horrible. What am I supposed to think? What am I supposed to think? The last year's Garb August pick, The 5 Fingers by Gayle Rivers and James Hudson, that book, I was like really confused. I didn't know what to make of it, because there was some stuff I liked in there and there was some stuff I hated in there. But a 5 or a 6 star rating, would I recommend it? To certain people. It depends on what you're looking for in a book. Like this works for me, but this does not work for me, but it might work for you. So it depends on what the good stuff is, if that I would consider it worthy enough to recommend to somebody else, if that makes sense. Okay. That's 3 stars. What does 4 stars mean to you? So 4 stars is the equivalent of 8 or 9. That means that the book is excellent. It gave me philosophical musings. I learned something, whether that be science or history or whatever. It gave me an exciting ride. Like, it gave me excitement. It was a page turner. There are many, the book is a good book and I would totally recommend it. It just had like maybe 1 or 2 flaws that I can point out that deny a perfect 10. Interestingly, ironic is not the right word for this. Interestingly, my favorite book of all time I gave it a 9 out of 10. Or a 4 out of 5, because it had 1 flaw in it. So it had 1 flaw, but everything else was so good, was so awesome, so it was so great. The book still stays in my mind till this day, ever since I read it like over 10 years ago. Oh, no. Over 20 years ago when I started reading it. Yeah, over 20 years ago. I read it in high school. Till this day, I read it 3 times, by the way. Till this day, Musashi by Eiji Yoshikawa still leaves a profound impression on me, but it did have 1 flaw. It was a little bit confusing with the chronology, with the timeline. But I could overlook that 1 flaw and everything else was perfect. That's why it's my favorite book of all time. Okay, next question. Do you ever do half-star ratings? No. The reason I don't do half-star ratings or quarter-star ratings is because I rate from 1 to 10, so it gives me more flexibility to do the rating system. If I did 1 to 5, I would probably do half stars or quarter stars or 3/4 stars. So, yeah, there you go. So no, I don't do half stars because I rate from 1 to 10. Okay. 7. Do you rate books 5 stars often? What do 5-star books do to make you rate them that high? So I don't rate books 5 stars or 10 that often. No. But when I do, what it means is that book gave me exactly what I was looking for. Okay? Exactly what I want, or fitted into my preference for a book 100%. So if I want this, I want this, I want this, I want these 3 ingredients. So like let's say you ask a chef to make a meal for you with very, very, very specific preferences, or with very specific method of preparation and cooking, etc. And he gives you exactly what you want. That's how I would rate. That's a book that I would rate 5 stars or a perfect 10. That the book which I gave a perfect 10 to was Garden of Beasts by Jeffry Deaver, because for me, it gave me exactly what I wanted. It gave me an unexpected twists, a lot of twists and turns. It gave me excitement and suspense. And despite it being a historical fiction, I'm a big fan of dystopia, by the way. But despite it being a historical fiction, it gave me the feel of a book set in a dystopian setting, which was the atmosphere of fear, like somebody could be hearing you around the corner. Be careful what you say. Or any moment the cops can come busting in and arrest your ass. Any book that creates like an Orwellian society, like a North Korea, that kind of atmosphere setting, I love those books. And that book gave me exactly that. I wasn't even expecting it, because I wasn't reading a dystopia. I was here reading a historical fiction. But it gave me that. And it gave me everything else. And flawed character, not flawed, complex protagonist, which treads a fine line between good and evil, right and wrong. And like I said, the twists and the suspense. And it was fast paced as well. It was an excellent book. So if a book gave me all that I was hoping for, it gives a perfect 10. Oh, I dropped something here. Some more notes from my notebook. I'll leave that in there. I'll leave it in the video. 8. Has your rating of books changed over the years? I know, because I've only just recently started rating books. When I was in school and I had to write essays about books that I read, the teacher gave you assignments when you read books, and then they ask you to write like full essays on it. It kind of put me off rating books. I just wanted to enjoy reading them. I didn't want to rate them. I didn't want to do all my musings on it. But now that I'm on BookTube and I see how much fun this can be, I've started doing ratings. I do, of course, 1 to 10, but anyway. So it hasn't changed yet, because I've only recently started doing it. Maybe give me like another, like I've been here since like 2020, or maybe, yeah, I've been on, this channel has been around since 2020. Maybe give me another 2 years. We'll see if I can evaluate if my rating system has changed. Okay, next up. 9. Where do you record your ratings of your books, the books you read? Here on YouTube, you can see several book ratings that I make. I don't do Goodreads because I like to simplify my social media presence, so that's why I'm not on Goodreads. But yeah, you can see all the way I rate my books here on various videos on this channel. I should actually start recording my ratings in my notebook. This notebook I use to write down tags and YouTube video ideas, as well as writing ideas for the future. So I should record my ratings on paper, or at least on a Word file on my laptop. So I should. I haven't done that yet, but I should. But for now, it's here on YouTube. 10. Tag someone. Not yet. We'll see. We'll see how. I might in the future. In the next few weeks or so, tag someone in the description, just because I feel like it. But right now, not yet. How do I describe this? Because I'm not sure who has and hasn't done this yet, or who can or cannot do it. But this is a simple tag, so anyone's welcome to do this tag. Okay. That's it for now. But one last thing. Stay tuned to me reading aloud smut from this book later in August. Goodbye.